I thank the representative of China for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President. The United States thanks the Presidency for submitting this resolution consistent with the Presidency's obligation under OP 11 of Resolution 2231. On August 28th, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom, the E3, each notified the Council of Iran's significant and continuing non-performance of its nuclear commitments. Their case was clear. Iran has enriched uranium well above the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, limits in a manner for which there is no credible civilian purpose. As we speak, Iran continues to not implement the IAEA's JCPOA monitoring measures and to not provisionally apply the IAEA additional protocol. The E3 could have initiated the snapback process as early as 2019. Instead, they chose to first pursue intensive diplomacy with Iran. Then, in July, the E3 offered to extend the snapback mechanism if Iran were to take steps to address concerns regarding its highly enriched uranium stockpile, comply with its IAEA obligations, and resume direct diplomacy with the United States. Despite suggestions to the contrary from Iran and others, Tehran has not yet realized those conditions. The United States therefore voted no on this resolution, and we are pleased that this resolution was not adopted due to not receiving the requisite number of yes votes. The practical effect of this vote is that absent any further action by the Council, the pre-2015 UN sanctions on Iran are reimposed following the end of the 30-day snapback period on September 27th. However, to be absolutely clear, our vote on this resolution does not impede the possibility of real diplomacy, despite any statements to the contrary. The UN provisions to be reimposed are not arbitrary, but instead narrowly scoped to address the threat posed by Iran's nuclear, missile, and conventional arms programs and support for terrorism. Their return does not preclude later removal through diplomacy. More importantly, President Trump has continued to reiterate the United States' ongoing readiness for a meaningful, direct, and time-bound dialogue with Iran, be it prior to the conclusion of the snapback process on September 27th or after. Absent a deal, it is incumbent on the international community to not accept Iranian half measures or efforts to delay accountability. We must, with one voice, press leadership in Iran to choose the path of peace and, by extension, prosperity for the Iranian people. I thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Guyana.
Thank you, Mr. President, and we welcome the participation of the permanent representative of Iran in this meeting. Mr. President, Guyana has consistently maintained support for dialogue and diplomacy as the most viable option for addressing all concerns related to the Iranian nuclear issue. Indeed, it was through dialogue and diplomacy that China, France, Germany, Russia, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Iran reached the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which this Council endorsed through Resolution 2231. Guyana recalls that Resolution 2231 affirmed that the full implementation of the JCPOA would contribute to building confidence in the exclusively peaceful nature of Iran's nuclear program. It also emphasized that the JCPOA is conducive to promoting and facilitating the development of normal economic and trade relations and cooperation with Iran. Guyana therefore expresses its regret that to date the plan has not been successfully implemented and consequently the goals of the JCPOA have not been achieved. Ahead of the expiration of Resolution 2231, Guyana urges the participants of the JCPOA to honour their commitments of resuming negotiations in good faith and to do so without further delay. We reiterate our support for the implementation of Security Council Resolution 2231 and the JCPOA and commit to working with Council members for a swift resolution to the Iranian nuclear issue. We further express our disappointment that despite their stated commitment to dialogue, the parties have not been able to resolve their differences in a manner that addresses the fundamental issues and the security concerns of all involved. We believe that dialogue should always be the first recourse to resolving any dispute or challenge between or among states. In this particular context, we are resolute that dialogue should involve all participants to the JCPOA. Guyana's abstention must be seen in this light. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Guyana for the statement. I now give the floor to the representative of Denmark.
Thank you, Mr. President. And at the outset, let me thank you, the Presidency, for presenting this draft resolution in line with the procedures described in Resolution 2231. I also wish to welcome the participation of the Permanent Representative of Iran to this meeting. Mr. President, 10 years ago, a landmark diplomatic achievement was realized. The Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA, demonstrated what is possible when political differences are set aside, when the international community unites in common cause. Regrettably, it has become clear that Iran has been in significant non-compliance with its commitments under the agreement for most of the past decade. This has been documented in more than 60 reports by the IAEA. On this backdrop, we are extremely worried about the fact that the Iranian nuclear program, with its accumulation of highly enriched uranium stockpiles, lacks any credible civilian justification and is unprecedented for a state without a nuclear weapons program. The suspension of the sanctions regime on Iran in 2015 was a key element of the JCPOA. As a European country, Denmark witnessed and supported the extraordinary efforts that the EU and European countries put into its negotiation and its implementation. We did so guided by a firm belief in the power of diplomacy. Today, that belief remains. Mr. President, the E3 have remained steadfast in their commitment to resolve the dispute with Iran without having to impose sanctions. Iran has been offered many opportunities to engage constructively to avoid the situation we're in today. Most recently, Iran has had nearly 2 months to address E3's immediate concerns that we fully share. Regrettably,